it's David. Bit of a catch-up. This last weekend was a bit non-eventful. None of the jobs that I started actually got finished. So let's have a quick look around and see what I did do and what I didn't. Starting with the Harley, it's coming along. I've done some more grinding on the frame, some more rust killing. It's but if I look here, then I can see that there's some more rust there that needs to be sort of worked on. A little harder to get the grinder into there, and it's pretty much the same story all over. You start, you do a bit, you clean it up as much as you can, that still needs doing. You come back, you do a bit more work in there, but over here we're coming along nicely. So again, bits and pieces are getting done, are improving, other bits are still to be done. It's quite complex. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get into all of these gaps. Some of them probably not as well as they need, but I can do what I can do and no more. So it's a big job. It's a question of getting it done as and when I have the time to do it, but I'm pleased I'm actually making progress, and that really is the key with a lot of this stuff. It's very easy to get daunted. There's so much to be done that you don't do anything, whereas if you just get a little bit done, little bit done, little bit done, eventually the whole thing is done. So that's the Harley. The next job I started was on the 650 Bandit, because this wheel bearing here is sure, this one's not too bad, but the other one was shot. Unfortunately, I've had to stop mid progress because the wheel bearings I've got the wrong ones. So I'm going to have to contact the supplier during the week, try and get some new ones. For the moment though, that means the 650 Bandit, which is my motorway commuting bike, is out of action, which is a real pain because it means I'm going to have to use a different bike, and there's only one bike that's actually insured for that particular journey, so it's going to have to be that one, and that's damage, the 1200 Bandit, and that's just going to eat fuel. And I'm trying to avoid using the bike too much because it needs some work itself, but it's one of those jobs that I can sort of put off for now, but I really need to get done. The other thing I started looking at on here was doing something with this paint, because whatever this paint is, it doesn't like fuel, and it was quite bad, or even worse than this on the other side. So I started stripping it off so that I can do something with it. It always was my idea. I actually really like this paint, but it needs work. There's some damage I've done to it when I've been taking it off. Some of it I think was worn down because it was scuffed up before it was painted black. There's some dents in it and stuff, so it's not a great tank anyway. It's not the best tank in the world. And yeah, down in there, I don't know how well, there we go. Yeah, I've gone right through to the metal there myself when I was scraping down in that awkward corner. So I need to do something with this, but at the least I need to paint it black, with a black that's not going to dissolve every time we get a spillage from the fuel tank. I'd like to go a different colour, but that would mean having to deal with all of this, which is really bad. I mean, the thing is, the mileage is creeping up on the bike now. It's about 30,000, 32, something like that, and it's going to go up a lot more because it's being used for motorway commuting. Probably, I don't know, 120 miles a day, a couple times a week, plus other little bits and pieces. So this needs, as I say, I don't know quite what to do with this, but worst case I might rub it down, I might just respray it black. This is just, I don't know what happened here. Some of it was just bad spraying, some of it was, well, this sort of cracking. It's very often what happens. afterwards with badly prepared paint. So that's all coming through. So yeah, down here, see, we're now missing a bearing because I pulled it out, and that's when I found out I had the wrong ones. There's a lesson. Normally I would check the new bearings. When I got this far, I would actually hold them up and check they were the right bearings. Instead, I stupidly pulled this bearing out, which was the dead one, and now it's even deader. I'm not putting it back in because it's really bad. So the bike's off the road until I can get some new bearings. But my main task, just for the next little bit, 20 minutes, half an hour or so, is, since I got these apart, is to pull the pads out and give them a bit of a clean in there. So just like I did with the rears, this is your general normal maintenance now, just running into winter now, so it'll be good to have them nice and clean, ready before we hit winter and before it hits salt on the motorway and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do now. The only other thing that's sort of happening at the moment is the 390 Bandit. I need to have a look at the chain tensioner because it's quite rattly on the top end, and it stays rattly even when it warms up. So I'm going to have a look at pulling out and replacing this. The only problem is I'm not quite sure how to get it out because the throttle body here is right in the way. There's no way I can get this back bolt here out. So I don't know. I might, if I can unbolt the airbox, maybe I can pull it all back enough to get this out. Otherwise, the engine's got to come out, or at least partly, and that's not much fun because there's quite a lot of work involved in taking the engine out. Even taking the airbox out is going to take quite a lot of work because I think the tank's got to come off. So that's another bike that's currently off the road, but that's how it is. So for now, let's get on with some cleaning of the brakes. At least I'll achieve something today. Right, so there we are. So at least I've got achieved something, which is to got the front brakes through their routine maintenance, so they're now back up and operational fully. So that's all looking good, which is great. Now I'm waiting for the wheel bearings, and I've still got the Harley frame to push on with. I've got time to figure out what's going on with the KTM in how you get the actual cam chain adjuster out. I'm not really sure how it comes out, but I'm sure it must. It's only a question of what else you need to take out. So we'll see how we get with that. So little bits and pieces moving forwards, and that's it. So it's always great to catch up with you guys, and I'm hoping that this will give you a better idea of the sort of stuff that goes on between videos, because sometimes you just get the impression from videos that everything's wonderful, everything works, and everything is solved in 5 minutes and it's all great. But the reality is, certainly for me anyway, is that that isn't how it works. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you again soon.